Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. First of all, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following. For those who know me personally, thank you for asking where I've been. I've been around. I've been running around. I've been having work back to back. I tend to get opportunities to go and minister the gospel in various places. So balancing the two is a bit crazy. So I've been having a very hectic week. I am very sorry for the inconsistency. I know we are I think 3 weeks behind there, but then here we are. Let's go right into it. First of all, kudos to those people who balance this with YouTube and everything. It's just a lot of work. However, we thank God that we're here. Yeah. So today is supposed to be a coach conversation. Um, we were supposed to have someone to interview, but then I purposed I do the video myself because of this is a topic that is rather dear to me, identity, and I struggled with identity for quite a while. So I feel like I can talk about it. Then maybe we can see how it progresses. Yeah. So last time we talked about finding your identity, pretty much in. We did it from the introduction, then we did the spiritual perspective. So now we're just doing a random touch up here and there to see what exactly is entailed when you start the journey of finding your self identity. So today I just want to make it very easy, very open. I just share basically how I got to where I am today and the journey that it has taken so that it can be more of an interview, sort of, but then just a conversation with myself, just sharing my story. So I know identity is your 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 description of who you are. Let's just call it that. Identity is a description of who you are. So most people assume that they know who they are. Now, first of all, as I mentioned in the previous video, you never know who you are unless you are in Christ. Yes. So for Kedo, 27 years, I thought I knew who I was, yeah. I knew my strengths, I knew my weaknesses, and I thought I'd figured this whole thing out. However, I later came to realize that that was not really the case. So I found myself in a situation where it needed me to do an immediate SWOT. And it was sort of an identity crisis, an emotional crisis, a mental crisis, a physical crisis. Everything was crashing. And I felt the need to go right ahead and make a simple prayer to the Lord. And I said, Lord, if you don't come through, man, what I will not figure this thing out. So I eventually found myself in a situation where I started a journey that I didn't know that I was on. So the Lord being Himself, He works in mysterious ways. So the journey began pole pole. So it started with, of course, my walk of salvation. Then it's been gradual, the various tests, the various trials, realizing that I can overcome various situations that come against me. And in no time, I remember in June 2019, the Lord quickening me and telling me, you know what, you need to know who you are. So at first, it was the first, the Bible, but eventually I felt the Lord tell me to do this personality test things. So I was like, let me do one. Mm, I did it. I figured out which personality among the 16 Myers Briggs personality test I knew where I closely related to, and they told me which kind of a personality type I am. So at first I was like, okay, but I don't know, moments, yeah, I just really didn't pay attention to what I had found out about myself. So I proceeded taking time, blah 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 blah, and life at that time was hard, man. I was really juggling a lot. So paying attention to a personality test at that particular moment was not my priority. Little did I know it was actually a priority, but I didn't know it was actually a priority, so I sort of brushed it off. So fast forward to some time. Last year I went through the various seasons of life. Life just happened. So last year I found myself again being led by a friend of mine to do the test. So the test results came the same as before. So this time I actually paid attention and wanted to now really sort of study what exactly is my personality type, what does it entail. So because now I was a bit in a more stable place to handle that. So I sort of looked at it, and I found out a lot, and I was like, oh, by the way, this is why I act this way, this is why I've been behaving this way. And I cannot emphasize enough on the importance of that decision and that discovery, because it led me to know how to handle various situations and how to handle them effectively. So the journey began, and I started relating, and then I went and related it to God, and I asked him, God, so this is my area, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, what goes where. So I would uh, sort of tally both the personality and the Bible, so that they can tie and so that I can build myself. So I discovered one of my weaknesses. Let me just even tell you guys, because it will be so funny, is procrastination. This thing is a struggle. So I had to personally start purposely deciding not to procrastinate. You know, just because what happens with my okay, I'm an INFJ personality type. So what happens with our personality is we panic so much. We want everything perfectly done. We cannot do anything out of the context. So it will really make us uneasy because we feel like it will not be good enough when you put it out there. So we tend to keep on going back to redo it, sort of. And sometimes when you redo, you grow weary and the psyche shares. So what happens? You dispose. So I did this, like, for example, let me give you an example. This coach conversation, I'd done it, I think 2 weeks ago. And then I was like, this thing is, I've not edited it, so I cannot put it up. So how, it, that's just how we are. So I learned that that's a weakness. So I started learning to accept things as they are and growing with the process. So eventually, then again, there's the need to avoid criticism with our personality type. So I purposed to learn how to be okay with criticism, not to be perfect, and accept when someone is correcting me. So yeah, that's how we got to this particular point. Yeah. Anyway, long story short, the personality type really came through. So what I encourage people to do right now is, with your identity, after you've done the spiritual work, just do the personality test. That will help you to identify where exactly your strength is and what works and what does not work for you. Then further proceed to do, after the doing the Myers Briggs personality test. Um, Now start working on your SWOT analysis. You can have someone maybe you trust tell you, these are your strengths, these are your weaknesses, this is what works for you, and this is what doesn't work for you. Sometimes you think you know yourself, but then it's someone else who also doesn't. So there's also the SWOT analysis. Then after that, you can now progress. Now you can start working and building on that. So the coach conversation today is I cannot emphasize on the importance of identity, because what happens when you don't know your identity, you make bad decisions. You don't know what works for you don't know what does not work for you, and you find yourself around people who either bring you down or do not really exactly tally with who you are. So what I encourage people to do is know what works for you, know who you, then from there you will know even the career that you want to pursue. Like an INFJ giving me an engineering career is just stressing me out for no apparent reason. So that really builds you. It really builds you. Then again, you will know why people treat you the way they treat you, why people find it hard to relate with you the way they relate with you. So I encourage people that first step, then even looking for a spouse. If you have not found your identity, you'll find a problem with finding somebody suitable for yourself. Why? Because you will try and morph into who he or she is. You will not be yourself, your original self. So I encourage people, take time, do the personality test, learn yourself in the single seasons. Learn yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know what works for you, know what doesn't work for you. Then also your career decisions, even how you can serve God, uh, even how to handle those seasons where you're down and the seasons when you're up. Because most people have been misdiagnosed with so many diseases because they think they're one way and whereas they're not. Like now for me, you find some people would assume that I'm bipolar. No, not really. It's not that I'm bipolar. It's just that at one moment I'm okay with being an extrovert, being an ambivert. An ENFJ tends to be an ambivert. You're okay with being an extrovert, and as per the need, you tend to have extroverted feelings. Then also you tend to react how somebody else is reacting because you it's a long story. Then sometimes you need that recharge time, so you shut down. So people cannot really tally. And if you go to a clinician and maybe they've not really understood your personality type, then what happens eventually is that they start diagnosing you with some diseases that you don't really have. So just figure it out. Mental health is important, and so is finding your identity. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about today. It's a very brief video today, so that we can be able to catch up. We'll not do the Q&A. We'll sort of kind of delve into the next topic for the next month. Yeah. So, and if you have any questions, by the way, you can just inbox down below, then, or rather chat down below, then I'll be able to respond one by one. But thank you so much for being consistent with me and being patient with me. God bless you, and I love you. Mwah.